Let's see. Okay.
Hi, my name is Allison Schmidt, and my species is the Chrysophylla riparius, commonly known as the green lacewing.
Hi there, my name is Catherine Whitlock, and the species I will be discussing is Apis mellifera, which is commonly called the honeybee.
Our debate topic is which species, the green lacewing or honeybee, is more beneficial. The green lacewing is a light green insect with long antennae, gold eyes, and transparent long veined wings. The green lacewing undergoes 4 stages in its life: egg, larvae, pupae, and adult. The female green lacewing lays her eggs, and after a few days, the eggs hatch into larvae. These larvae begin feeding on aphids for 2 or 3 weeks. After this time, the larvae spin a cocoon. They stay in the cocoon for a 5-day period, then emerge as adult green lacewings. While this insect is in the larvae stage, it is active during the day and night. When the green lacewing is an adult, it will only move around or fly at night. The green lacewing is not very social, but does sing duets with its mate during courtship. The green lacewing is a huge benefit to gardeners and farmers. In the larvae stage, this insect feeds on aphids, another insect that is very harmful to crops and plants, and other pests. Without the green lacewing larvae feeding on these pests, our crops would slowly be destroyed. These pests that the larvae eat would greatly diminish our crops and plants.
The honeybee of the Hymenoptera order belongs to the Apidae family and is divided into 3 segments: head, thorax, and abdomen. Undergoing complete metamorphosis, honeybees have 2 pairs of wings. Originating in Africa, honeybees eventually were brought to the Americas during colonization and are now globally distributed. Divided into 3 types, the queen, drone, and worker, honeybees are eusocial and live in hives. With 1 per hive, queens are typically larger and are responsible for reproducing. Drones are males and mate with the queen. With around 60,000 per hive, workers are small and are responsible for and the upkeep and defense of the hive. Interestingly, honeybees communicate with one another via dances, the waggle and the round dance. Honey is not the only contribution of honeybees to our society. Honeybees impact human society in a plethora of ways. Primarily, honeybees are pollinators which aid in the production of crops and other agricultural development. Without honeybees, our sustainability as a functioning society would be greatly diminished, if not doomed.
In 2017, there were 15.1 billion bushels of corn, 480 million bushels of sorghum, and 4.3 million bushels of soybean grown in the US. Imagine those numbers being greatly decreased due to pests like aphids. Without the green lacewing larvae, our food supply would be greatly affected and our ability to trade surplus goods would be non-existent. We need the green lacewing larvae to regulate the amount of aphids that affect our crops. Our nation survives off of these crops. We need the green lacewing larvae to keep these crops from being destroyed.
The only reason we have crop growth in the first place is due to bees and their pollination. A third of the food we eat is a result of honeybee pollination, and fruit like blueberries are 90% dependent upon pollination. Honeybees and crops have a symbiotic and coexistent relationship, and this relationship carries onto farmers who must maintain their livelihood. Bees are a basic factor in the success of the agricultural industry, as it is estimated that the monetary value of honeybees as commercial pollinators in the U.S. is $15 billion annually, with them pollinating 80% of all crops. Without honeybees, farmers and consumers meet a great hindrance.
Other insects help plants with pollination. Even humans and animals help with pollination by carrying pollen on our clothes. Without bees, nature would adapt and other insects would fill the role they left behind, or plants would adapt to find new ways to pollinate. Pollen is transferred by contact with a bug or animal. Then that bug or animal comes in contact with another plant, spreading the pollen from the first plant. The honeybee population is already declining. Plants and crops are still being pollinated or still growing just as well as before. On another point, bees cannot pollinate if there are not any plants or crops to pollinate. Without the green lacewing, the plants would be killed by pests like aphids. The green lacewing lives up to a year and lays up to 200 eggs. The large reproduction rate of these insects keeps farmers from having to constantly purchase new green lacewing eggs or larvae and keep the use of pesticides down. Using natural enemies as a pesticide is better for the plants and crops as well as less time consuming for farmers and gardeners.
There would not be enough time after the loss of the bee population for other animals to pollination with the same vigor as bees. Bees are the primary and most efficient initiator of reproduction in plants. Without honeybees, we lose all the plants that bees pollinate, all of the animals that eat those plants, and that would continue to the top of the food chain. A worldwide famine would ensue, and poverty would become commonplace. Yes, lacewings are a biological control method, but that does not overshadow how beneficial and invaluable honeybees are. The integrated pest management often use other types of biological controls like parasitoids, pathogens, and other competitors. Lacewings are dispensable and easily replaced. Honeybees are the only insect that pollinates with that capacity and therefore is more beneficial and crucial to the ecosystem.
The green lacewing is overall the more beneficial insect. Without the larvae feeding on pests, plants and crops would be destroyed. The green lacewing is used to control these pests and keep farmers from having to use as many pesticides. In the US, we grow billions of bushels of crop each year. These crops are a huge part of our country's food supply. We depend on insects like the green lacewing to keep our crops from being destroyed. The larvae is especially helpful in gardens and greenhouses. Without the green lacewing larvae protecting the plants and crops, there wouldn't be anything to pollinate.
Human life cannot continue as we are today without the help of honeybees. Thus, honeybees are more beneficial than the green lacewing. Globally, honeybees are the most prevalent type of bee and pollinated insect, and therefore it is the most vital. Every crop is either directly or indirectly benefited and pollinated by honeybees due to bees setting the foundation of biodiversity. Honeybees contribute over $1,000 to the economy, pollinate over 70 kinds of crops, and make 6,000 tons of honey. The loss of the honeybees would subsequently bring a huge loss to the world.